Hi, I'm David Hilderman, and welcome to A Christmas Wish. The other day I got to watch a show on YouTube. It's amazing how many free programs, or not programs, but movies there are on YouTube. And this one was called Tobacco Road. And it was supposed to be about uh, the South, the people who lived in the South. Um, and these people were as lazy as you could ever imagine a person. In fact, at one point in the show, the main character, was knocked over by a car, his son's car. It must have been a depressing moment for him as he laid there the rest of the day. And he got up in the evening. His wife finally came out and said, "Aren't you going to come in off the cold, hard ground?" You know, we can be lazy, but probably not that lazy. But sometimes we're spiritually lazy. There's a thing that is um, is called a spiritual apathy or being spiritually lazy. We can be so lazy that we literally um, don't even don't even get up to get the thing that God is offering us. Now, the verse we have today in our Advent verse for the fourth day of Advent is Isaiah chapter 7 and verse 14. I'm going to read it to you first in Navajo and then in English. Isaiah 7:14 to Nebuzad. Eba boho nihi ka bibe eho zine nihaide to as jokan chiketato dinebe halehi idinods as go yashke yedorch il ado Emmanuel ye yedosh yis. That is Isaiah 7:14 to Nebuzad in the Bible. This is Isaiah chapter 7 and verse 14 in English. Let me give you a little bit of the setting. The king Ahaz, who is the king of Judah during the time of the divided kingdoms, was spiritually lazy. He had no interest really in receiving a message from God or any such thing. But it says here that Ahaz, now it came to pass, Isaiah chapter 7, verse 1, that in the days of Ahaz, the son of Jotham, the son of Uzziah, king of Judah, that Rezin, king of Syria, and Pekah, the son of Remaliah, king of Israel, went up to Jerusalem to make war against it, but could not prevail against it. Now, this passage is about that event. God sent his prophet to Ahaz to explain to him that he didn't need to make allegiances with ungodly people. He didn't need to, a lot of things he didn't have to worry about because God would take care of it. Ahaz could just seek God. And this is the short story. And Isaiah says to Ahab, ask a sign. This is through the prophet Isaiah, but it's the Lord speaking. Ask a sign for yourself from the Lord your God. Ask it either in the depth or in the height above. But Ahaz said, I will not, nor will I test the Lord. It sounds very pious, but the fact is that Ahaz wasn't really interested in spiritual things, apparently. Then he said, hear now, O house of David. This is what Isaiah says. Is it a small thing for you to weary men? But will you weary my God also? Therefore, the Lord himself will give you a sign. Behold, the virgin shall conceive and bear a son, and shall call his name Emmanuel. Now that right there is a sign. You know, of all of the Old Testament signs, the crossing of the Red Sea, the Passover, you name it. Water from the rock, the Lord's presence coming down on Mount Sinai. In the giving of the law, can you imagine all of the signs of the Old Testament? Was there a greater one than this one that was offered? But he wasn't interested. Now it's interesting that when Jesus was born, there were people who knew about Jesus' birth. They never came to see him. Think of the scribes and the priests, the chief priests that were there in Jerusalem when the wise men showed up. They didn't care. They really weren't that interested in what God had to show them. But then think of the shepherds. And the angels came and told them about this sign. And they went and saw the young child where he was. You know, the fact is that we can be spiritually lazy. The fact that you're joining me this evening tells me that you aren't spiritually lazy, and in fact, you're interested in all of the verses and the things in the Bible that tell us about the coming of our Lord Jesus Christ, and of course, in particular, the things that relate to his first coming and ultimately his birth, which we celebrate on December 25th, which is Christmas Day. So my Christmas wish for you today is that your spiritual senses and your spiritual ambition would come to the fore this holiday season, and that from it you would grow in a new way. Thank you for joining me for A Christmas Wish.